Ever bought a laptop that looked slick on the Amazon page but turned out to be a letdown when you actually tried to game on it? I've been there, spending time scrolling through glossy photos, reading ultra-fast performance claims, then plugging it in only to find the fan screaming and the frame rate dropping in the middle of a match. That frustration is what makes me want to break down the Lenovo ThinkPad T14 Gen 6 before you click add to cart. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about why the T14 lands in the business laptop slot while a lot of people are eyeing it for gaming. The machine packs a 14-inch WUXGA IPS panel with a 1920x1200 resolution, anti-glare coating, and integrated Intel graphics. On paper, the extra vertical pixels give you a little more screen real estate for spreadsheets, and the IPS tech makes colors look consistent from any angle. In real life, that's great for video calls, reading PDFs, or editing photos in Lightroom, but it's not a high-refresh display. There's no 144Hz panel here, so if you're used to buttery smooth shooters, you'll notice the difference right away. The heart of the T14 is an Intel Ultra 7255U processor paired with up to 32GB of DDR5 RAM. For everyday office work, coding, or running several virtual machines, the CPU feels solid. I ran a typical workday scenario: multiple Chrome tabs, Outlook, a heavy Excel file, and a couple of Docker containers, and the laptop stayed responsive, only nudging the fan up a notch when the load spiked. That's the kind of sustained performance many professionals need, and it translates into decent gaming performance for titles that aren't graphically demanding. Now, the integrated Intel graphics are the limiting factor. There's no dedicated GPU, so you'll be relying on Intel's say graphics engine. In practice, that means you can comfortably play older titles like League of Legends or Counter-Strike Global Offensive at low to medium settings, and you'll get a smooth experience in indie games such as Stardew Valley or Hades. I tested a quick Minecraft session on low settings, and the frame rate hovered around 5060 frames per second, which is playable but not spectacular. Anything newer or more graphically intensive, think Cyberpunk 2077 or Elden Ring, will either refuse to start or force you into the lowest settings with severe frame rate drops. So, if you're a hardcore gamer, the T14 isn't the machine you're looking for. Heat and fan noise are often the silent deal breakers for laptops that try to be all-purpose. Under a sustained gaming load, the T14's fan does its job, but you'll hear a noticeable whine that can become distracting after an hour or two. It's not a constant scream, it ramps up as the CPU and GPU heat, then eases off when the workload drops. For office work, the fan stays mostly silent, but once you start a 30-minute gaming session, expect the laptop to get warm to the touch on the keyboard's left side. The chassis itself feels solid, typical ThinkPad magnesium alloy with the classic black finish, but the thermal design is clearly tuned for productivity, not for pushing graphics to the edge. Battery life is another practical concern. Lenovo doesn't publish a specific watt-hour figure for the T14 Gen 6, but most 14-inch ThinkPads hover around 45-50 Wh. In a typical office day, emails, a few video calls, and a spreadsheet, expect roughly 6 to 7 hours of mixed usage. Throw in a light gaming session and the runtime drops to about 3 to 4 hours before you're hunting for an outlet. If you travel a lot and need a full day of unplugged work, you'll want to bring the charger anyway. Portability is where the T14 shines. At just over 1.5 kilograms and a slim 0.7-inch profile, it slides into a backpack without feeling like a brick. The connectivity suite is generous for a business machine: 2 USB-A 3.2 Gen 1 ports, 1 always-in for charging peripherals, 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports for high-speed docks or external GPUs, an HDMI 2.1 output for a 4K monitor, and a traditional RJ45 Ethernet jack for wired networking. Those Thunderbolt ports mean you could theoretically bolt an external GPU enclosure if you're serious about occasional high-end gaming, but that adds cost and complexity, something most buyers aren't ready to tackle. Security and AI features are worth mentioning because they're part of why Lenovo markets this as a business laptop. A built-in fingerprint reader works seamlessly with Windows Hello, and the machine ships with Windows 11 Pro, which includes BitLocker encryption and